Hi guys, in this episode of Shri series, we're going to be talking about Pythagoras Theorem or Pythag Theorem, alright? So the first thing I'm going to do is tell you what the theory states or the theorem states, and then we'll do some questions. You'll also have an opportunity to practice other questions through my next series of videos, alright? Now, we know we've got different types of triangles, all right? You've got equilateral triangles. In other words, all sides are equal, all right? And then you've got what's known as an isosceles triangle, all right? So this is just a simple sketch where you've got two sides, all right, that are equal. And then you've got another type of triangle called a scale-in triangle where all three sides are not equal, all right? So this is a simple example of how we apply the question of the types of triangles in this context, all right? So if you look at triangle 1, triangle 2, and triangle 3, you'll notice that with triangle 1, you've got all three sides equal, therefore all the angles are equal. And if you work it out, the total angle in a triangle is 180 degrees, and then you divide it by 3, and that works out to be 60 degrees, all right? So in an equilateral triangle, what happens is, in addition to the sides that are equal, the angle's equal, and therefore the angle is 60 degrees, all right? In number 2, which is an isosceles, so what I'll do is I'll just put a simple key, E for equilateral, I for isosceles, and S for scaling. So in an isosceles triangle, you've got two sides equal and two angles equal. And in a scale-in triangle, what happens is you've got all three sides not equal, and therefore all three angles not equal as well. Now let's look at another type of triangle. So I'll just rub this off, and that's what we refer to as a right angle triangle. All right, so a right angle triangle is a triangle which has one of its angle 90 degrees. I'm just gonna draw a simple right angle triangle to help you understand what I mean, all right? So when you think of Pythag theory, you got to remember is that one of your triangle has to be right angle, okay? So I'll just draw this here. So let's draw a simple sketch there, all right? So that's a sketch of a triangle. Now, it's not yet right angle unless and until I put that sign. So that's a sign that shows that this is a right angle triangle. All right, right angle triangle. Now, when you look at a right angle triangle, it doesn't mean that both these angles that I've shown are equal. They could be different. Okay, but the first thing you got to remember is when you're applying Pythag theorem, one of the requirements to use Pythag theorem is that one of the angle has to be 90 degrees. All right, so we're going to be learning some key points here. Now, the longest side of a right angle triangle is referred to as your hypotenuse. All right, and the longest side is the distance from here to there, and that's what we refer to as your hypotenuse, or you could simplify it as HYP. All right, now Pythag simply states this following theory, and I'm just going to redraw this triangle again so you can understand what I'm saying. So imagine that's a right angle triangle, and suppose the distance from here to there is A, and the distance from here to there is B, and the longest side, which is my hypotenuse, is C. Pythag theory simply states that the square of the two sides A and B, when added together, is equal to C squared. Now, when I say it like this, it sounds a bit complicated, and at times you can get confused, so I'm going to illustrate this via this formula here. If you get A squared and B squared, add them together, you will get C squared. That is literally what Pythag theory states. The sum of the two sides of the squares added together is equal to your hypotenuse squared as well. In other words, the longest side of a right angle triangle. Okay, now let me give you one simple example and then we'll do other examples through my other video clips. Now let's say, for instance, A is 3, let's say 3 centimeters, B is 4 centimeters, and we want to find out what is C. So the Pythag formula is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So what do we have here? We've got 3 squared plus 4 squared is equal to C squared. Now just remember 3 squared is 3 times 3. I've seen students make a mistake by saying 3 squared is 3 times 2. That is wrong. So 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9, and 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16 equals C squared. Alright, so 9 plus 16 is 25. So we've got 25 equals C squared, and I'll just put an asterisk here so you can see the continuation. If C squared equals 25, so C is equal to the square root of 25, and that is 5 centimeters. Alright, so that's how you solve Pythag questions where you've got two sides and you're told to find the hypotenuse. Alright, so in summary, the condition and requirement for Pythag theorem is that one of the angle has to be perpendicular, has to be 90 degrees. Alright, you need to identify the longer side of a right angle triangle, which is hypotenuse, which is C in this case, or we use hype. The short term for hypotenuse is hype. Okay, then you write your formula A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and then in using this example, you've got 3 and 4, 3 squared plus 4 squared, that's 9 plus 16, add them together, that's 25. Just remember guys, we're solving for C, we're not solving for C squared, so your final step is to find the square root. Alright, in the next series of videos or next couple of videos, we're going to be practicing more Pythag questions, so please stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening guys, bye now.